Get ready.
Welcome back to the latest installment in our Attraction Graveyard series. In this video, we take a trip to the Efteling Attraction Graveyard as we look at 4 closed Efteling rides and attractions. Efteling is one of the oldest theme parks in the world, and also one of the most visited in Europe. As well as this, the park has also had a positive influence globally, as it's rumoured to have inspired Disneyland in California. With that being said, let's get into it. Get ready! Number 4. Pegasus. Pegasus was a family wooden coaster which first started operating in 1991 before eventually being demolished in 2009. The coaster was designed by the famous Curtis D. Summers, whose goal was to create an exciting and fun attraction without feeling overly extreme to its riders. In terms of structure and layout, the coaster had 2 trains which had 5 cars and could take 20 guests at a time. In total, the ride experience lasted about 85 seconds. With regards to the track, this was quite similar to Joris and the Draak, and was made of Canadian yellow pine wood. One negative aspect of this coaster was its capacity. Fully operational, the ride could carry about 1,100 people per hour. On busy days at the park, this could lead to long lines. As mentioned, this coaster was eventually closed in 2009, and there were a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, the cost of maintaining the attraction was slowly rising, along with rumours that it was starting to experience a serious level of wood rot. Overall though, the attraction had become less popular than others due to its lack of comfort, and it was eventually replaced in 2010 by Joris and the Draak. Number 3. Rowing Pond. This was one of the oldest Efteling rides in the park before its closure in 2011. Efteling first opened its doors in 1952, and 2 years later in 1954, Rowing Pond was opened to guests. Rowing Pond was a no-frills 1950s attraction that enabled guests to sail across Efteling using wooden oars in metal rowing boats. Originally, the attraction was situated on the lake where Joris and the Draak, Piranha, and De Vliegende Hollander now lie. However, in 1982, the attraction was moved to Vonderpass. With regards to how this attraction worked, it was possible to ride with up to 6 people in the same boat, but a person was not allowed to sail alone. In addition to this, each boat was given a maximum of 20 minutes sail time, before it was forced to return to allow the next set of guests to board. In total, the attraction lasted nearly 57 years, and was replaced by Aquanura, which now acts as the park's nighttime show. It's also worth noting, the opening of Aquanura was the park's way of celebrating its 60th anniversary. Rowing Pond will definitely be remembered fondly by Efteling fans, although it had become a little outdated. Number 2. Swimming Pool. The Efteling swimming pool was a key attraction at the park from 1952 until its closure in 1988. In terms of its location, the Efteling swimming pool was located where the popular De Vliegende Hollander now stands. The swimming pool itself was totally open air, and exactly how you would imagine an outdoor swimming pool in the 1950s to be. In terms of layout and features, the pool had both a shallow and a deep end. The deep had a diving board which guests could use to dive into the water, while the shallow end had a small slide. Interestingly, when the pool first opened, it was actually open to both Efteling guests and also people who just wanted to go for a dip but not visit the actual park. For these people, there was a separate entrance. As popular as the swimming pool initially was, eventually this began to wane. In 1988, Efteling made the decision to close the pool for good. The main reasons for this were the swimming pool required a lot of manpower to ensure the safety of those using it, and also its declining popularity within the park was fairly evident. Overall, Efteling could not afford to allocate so many staff to a declining attraction, and this ultimately led to its burial in the attraction graveyard. Let us know in the comments below if you ever had a chance to take a dip in the Efteling swimming pool. Number 1. Bob. Finally, we pay our respects to Bob. This was an attraction which first opened to the public in 1985. Bob only closed its doors in 2018, making it one of the most recent Efteling rides to cease operations. Themed around a bobsleigh race, this attraction was a coaster that was part of Efteling's Thrill expansion in the 1980s. The idea of this expansion was to attract teenagers and young adults to the park. In terms of ride experience, guests would enter into one of the 8 bobsleighs that each had room for up to 6 people. To keep in line with an actual bobsleigh experience, the seats were initially positioned in single file. However, around 2005, this was changed to paired seating. The ride would start off by bringing riders to the top of a 22-metre lift hill before sending them down the track, which saw riders experience speeds of up to 60 km per hour. As mentioned, the ride ceased operation in 2018 due to ongoing technical problems. One of the main issues was that this ride type was no longer being supplied, meaning it was difficult to find new parts when it broke down. In short, another attraction was needed in its place for the long term. After some consideration by Efteling, it eventually opened Max and Moritz in June 2020. Overall though, we think Max and Moritz is a great addition in its own right, but like all closed attractions, Bob will definitely be held in high regard by all those who experienced it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our Efteling Hidden Gems video on screen now. That concludes our trip through the Efteling attraction graveyard. Now you're ready. If you'd like to see any of these attractions back in the park today, let us know in the comments below which one, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already.